Okay, let's get started. We will begin by going down to the Groups tool. And in here we have 4 tabs at the top. My groups are all the groups that I have access to, that I've created, or that someone else has given me access to. If I have the name here that I can click on and edit the groups, I can see the last time they were used. I think this is more meaningful for email groups than security groups. If I keep going over, I can see the type. Here are all of my group types. We have security, email. Here's an opt-out group. We'll be looking at that. And it doesn't look like I have any AD groups, but we'll look at AD groups also. At the top, I can click on the view by folder, and then these groups over here that are in folders indicated by the arrow will be organized like that. So if you have lots of groups, some people have hundreds and even more than that, organizing by folders is very important. I don't have that many. Okay, so let's get started. At the top, the Q tab, usually you're not going to see anything here. If you happen to be uploading a file that has 50,000 people in it, and somebody else is doing the same thing, then yes, we only upload those one at a time. So as they are queued, you would see them here. If you're ever experiencing any slowness, just jump out to the Q tab and see if there's someone in front of you. And we also try to alert you to that as you're uploading the file, and I'll demonstrate that as we get there. The Department tab will show you the groups that your department has created that you do not have access to, but you can see the groups in your department. You can click on them, and then you can click on the roles button to see who has access to it and who could give you access to it. Same thing with the unit, the groups that are created in your unit. All right, so let's get started by creating a group. And today, as I'm creating groups, I'm going to be jumping back and forth between some of the other tools to show you where they show up, how they pop in, when they don't, that type of thing. And I'll be also going to Email Plus to demonstrate mail merge variables that are uploaded into a group. Okay, I click the Create a Group button, and I have 5 choices. I can create an email distribution group. If I create an email group, it can only be used to send emails to an Email Plus. That's it. That's the only purpose of the group. If I wanted a group, let's say, to limit people taking a survey, if I had 1,000 people and I wanted it to limit it to those 1,000, I would create a security and a privileges group. Or if I wanted to give my 5 coworkers access, if I wanted to create a group, a security group that was called Web Services Admins, I could put those 5 people in there. I could transfer all of my web tools to that group, and now all 5 people would have access to all of my web tools. So I'll give you a demonstration of that also when we get there. Email opt-out. This is for people. This is for an opt-out group, which is different than unsubscribe. An unsubscribe will take people out of the email distribution group. An opt-out group will not. It'll simply let people that want out of an email add themselves to this, and then we won't send to them as long as you indicate that you're using this group. I'll demonstrate that. Let's keep moving. Active Directory, security and privileges. So now it's a security and privileges group that we are simply pulling from the Active Directory. So edits are made there, people are added, deleted, and corrected in the Active Directory. We simply pull that, and it can be used within Webtools. Same thing for an email distribution group. Okay, let's start. Let's just start with the Active Directory group. So we will create a security and privileges group. Give it a name. I'm just going to put a 1 in front of it so it shows up at the top of my list. And I could give it a description. Okay, After I click save, now I have the ability to go find my AD group. Okay, it says the user OWS-group manager must be granted access to the AD group and any subgroup. Until this happens, you're not going to be able to use the AD group in Webtools. Okay, so again, this user must be granted access to the AD group and its subgroups. We'll remind you of that as we go along, I believe. So I will just search for a group. If I know the URL, I could type it in and search, or type in part of the AD group URL and search for that also. But I'm just going to search the name. And here are all the groups that came up with web in the name. You could find your group and select it. I think we have a group in here. Let's see. Okay, so I've selected the group, pulling it from the AD. Let's see, up at the top it says Webtools synchronizes with the AD at the top of every hour. Okay, so we only do it once an hour because there's a lot of them and it takes a while. But I can always sync now. Let's say that I know an AD change just happened and I want it to be live immediately in Webtools. All I have to do is click this button. So I'm going to click that. And if I go to the Manage tab now, if all worked right, okay, we don't have anyone yet. Let me try that again. Takes just a second. But very soon, I think I will have 3 people if I chose the right group. Yes, there we go. Okay, so it's pulling this from the AD. I cannot edit these here. If there's a problem, it has to be done in the AD and then resynced. Okay, so that's good and bad. That can be used in a lot of ways very effectively in Webtools. One way you may not want to do it is, let's say you create an AD group that you want to use for a directory widget. Okay, you can create directory widgets that will display your faculty and staff on a web page. Well, that AD group may not always be up to date, and then you'd have things out of whack on your website, and you wouldn't be able to fix them. You'd have to contact someone to update an AD group. So there's pros and cons, and if you create an AD group, it gets you out of the business of managing any of the people. You're just using it. However, when there's a problem, it's not as easy to correct. Okay, so that's an AD group, and this one happened to be a security and privileges group. So if I went to, let's say, the Forms tool, and went to a form into the Privileges tab, there it is, number 1, Web Services Admin. So it shows up on the Privileges tabs for all the tools, or on the Security tabs, so that you can limit access or give access using that security group. All right, so back to the Groups tool. And that's all we're going to look at as far as creating an AD group. Now we'll look at all the other tabs as we're creating a manual group. So let's create a second group. And this one will be Email Distribution Group. Okay, and I'm just giving myself notes when I write delete when done. That description is just whatever you want it to be. That's for your own purposes. Okay, I've created the group. We're on the General tab. There's only one thing I can do here. I can enable subscription or I can disable it. So right now it's enabled. This group will allow subscribing and unsubscribing, and I have a subscription tab at the top. If I disable that, then we lose the subscription tab at the top, and this group cannot be subscribed or unsubscribed to. So I'm going to turn that back on, and let's take a look at populating the group. Okay, right now there's no one in here. All we can do is add members. We have 2 ways to do this. One, I can type them in or copy and paste. I have copied and pasted more than 10,000 into this box before. It takes a couple minutes when I click the add button, but you can copy and paste a lot in here. Now, if you want mail merge information, then no. Then you're going to want to use the choose file option on the right. But if you're simply putting in email addresses to send to, then the copy and paste works great, you know, up to 10, 15,000. If it's larger than that, I definitely recommend uploading a file. Okay, so I can click add to group, and those two will be added shortly. Whenever I do add anyone to the group, I get an email confirmation. So in a second, I'm going to get an email, and it's going to say if either of those people that I added to the group had a problem or not, or if they were successfully added. So I'm not going to wait for that, and two people should happen pretty quickly. Yes, they're already added. There they are. Okay, so now I can edit these people. I can put in a first name, last name. I could even start adding other attributes if I wanted. Maybe I want to put in a city. If I really want attributes, though, then I would probably be uploading a spreadsheet. This is more for if you're just testing something out and you want a quick group and you want some extra information in there and you want to see if your mail merge variables work. You could quickly add some fields and test it out. But when you're ready to actually build your group, I'm expecting you would have a spreadsheet with all of that in there, which we're going to do in a second, and just upload all of those mail merge variables. Okay, so I can edit this again, add first name, last name. The first name, last name, if it's on our campus, we can pull that. I'm not sure if we're pulling it for UIS or UIC right now. I would have to check on that. We are trying to make UIC and UIS as consistent with Urbana as possible, and we've been doing a pretty good job with units and departments. I don't know about names yet, so these may auto-populate. They do for Illinois users, as long as we know them, but we usually do. Okay, so I'm going to cancel out of here, and now I'm going to delete the members. I want to remove every person. I can also paste in a list to delete. This would be handy. Let's say you sent out an email and 50 of the addresses bounced. Okay, so you're an email plus, you run a report, the sent and bounces report, and you see 50 bounce. They're hard bounces. They're all bad addresses. They're not going to be good again. You could simply copy those 50, come over to your group, paste them in, and delete them. Now you won't be getting bounces anymore. Or in this case, I'm going to just click the delete all button because I want to start over. And let's add members again. Before I do, let's take a look at this spreadsheet that I'm going to upload. Okay. Here's the spreadsheet at the top. The top is what's most important. I don't know how well you can see it or not. Expand this. Okay, so we have email address that is reserved, and that is required. If you're uploading a spreadsheet, the very first field at the top, the column header, must be email address with an uppercase A. So we're using camel case up here. Any of our variables are always going to start with lowercase, but then each additional word will have an uppercase letter. So first name has an uppercase N, last name does. Address line 1 has a capital L. City, country, name, state, zip, of course, do not have any capital letters. All right, so let's try uploading this into the group. Let me delete my extra row. And I should have mentioned one more thing before I do that. When you create your spreadsheet and you save your group, it must be a certain type. It must be a .csv file, and that is comma delimited. So that is the type of file we're expecting when you upload it into the Group Manager. If it's not this type of file, it won't work. So I'm going to browse to that CSV file. And import it. Okay, it is processing right now. I think it had about 500 people in it, so it's going to take a minute. And then we'll see what that looks like with all of the mail merge information. Okay, it's loaded 187 so far. We only display a limited amount of users here. So if you have a group with 50,000, we don't try to display 50,000. We just give you a message that says the group has too many members to display. Please refine your search above. So if I typed in WI, let's try that. Oh, it's got too many of those. Either that or it's just not finished yet. Oh, if it's got any Wilsons or not. Oh, we're going to let it finish. Okay, while it's finishing, it's up to 535. There we go, I found someone. Okay, so I searched for someone, I found them, and now when I edit them, we can see that all of that additional information has been loaded into the group. So now all of these fields are available for me to create a mail merge email. All right, I'm going to do one last thing with this group. I don't want to accidentally send to 535 people when I show you this in a minute. So I am going to delete the members one more time. And I'm going to upload a group that has only me in it with mail merge information. Okay, so that'll be done shortly. On the subscription tab, this is where we give you the URL if you would like to place it on your website somewhere. You know, do you want to subscribe to this newsletter, something like that. Also, down at the bottom, we let you edit the form if you wanted to put additional information on the subscription screen, on the subscribe screen, you could do that. If you wanted to, yeah, we don't give you a lot of options anymore. You could turn off email address. No, you can't turn that one off. Name, you can make name required if you want. So when they're subscribing, all we ask is their email address, and name is optional. If you would like their name, you could make that required, and then they can't subscribe unless they give it. So information at the top of the screen, the bottom of the screen, or turn name required on or off. That's all you can do here. Same thing with unsubscribe. We give you the link. We give you an introduction and a closing, top and bottom of the screen, and that's it. If we go to usage, this is going to show you what is using the skin. If it's been used to send out 300 emails, it would say this has been used to send 300 emails, and the last time it was used on was, and it gives you the date. If it is a security group, then it would list all the blogs that are using it, or calendars, or anything that's using it, it would list them here. Okay, and privileges, of course, is how you can add admins. Admins have full access to the group. Viewers are people that can use the group. Let's say I created a group of public affairs employees, and I want to let all 50 people or however many use the group, but I don't want them to be able to edit it. I can make them viewers. That way they can use it, they can't change it. And at the top, system contacts. This is when someone subscribes or unsubscribes. If you want to get notices, you would simply put in your emails here, and whenever there's a system email, you would get the contact email. All right, so let's go back to the Manage tab. Okay, I am still not on it. Well, let's check the queue and see if someone is in front of me in the queue. No. Okay, there I am. So I've been uploaded. If I click on it, I can see that I put in mail merge information. So the additional columns in the spreadsheet, I put those in for me so that I can now show you how to use this information in Email Plus. So very quickly, I'm going to jump to Email Plus. And I've started an email called Mail Merge Example and fill in everything I need to except, whoops. Okay, so in the Email Plus, I am simply inserting a content block, and now I'm going to put in my mail merge information. So we'll start with squiggly brackets have to be around the variable name. The variable name has to be exactly what was uploaded in the spreadsheet in those column headers. So I could say hello first name, maybe I want to say hello first name last name. So this email won't make a lot of sense, but it'll demonstrate what we're doing. And then I could put in, how about address. In Email Plus, if you don't want something double spaced, I don't know if you know this, but you simply hit Shift Enter. I thought we had that on the screen somewhere. No, we don't. Okay, so Shift Enter will take it down a single space. So let's try. I'm just showing you how we can pull all the variables in, and hopefully it all works. Okay. So if I view it, shows me just what I've typed in. So now I will send a test to myself. Also, I can go to the preview tab. Nope, preview is not available. Oh, I forgot to do one thing. I forgot to include the group. So in Email Plus on the General tab, I did not add that new group that we just made. Okay, there it is, one person in it. Now I need to send the test again. So it sent the test email. If I go to the Preview tab, now here I am. I can send myself a test email, which I've already done, or view it. So if I view it, then I see hello, James Wilson, and address, city, state, and zip. So I pulled all of that. All that's dynamic. All that was pulled in from the group. Okay, so let's go back to the group manager. And we've looked at all the tabs. We've seen how to upload people, copying them in up to 10 or 15,000. We've seen uploading a file with camel case column headers that then can be used in Email Plus. We've created an AD group. I've shown you how you can use your security groups to go into like a privileges tab or a security tab. Oh, okay, so one last thing. And we're almost finished. This is a very quick workshop, and then I will open it up for questions if you like. So a lot of people call us and they say, we want to give access to Webtools to a new person or to other people or to everyone on our team. How do I do it without going in and editing a form and going to the privileges tab and adding them there? Because if you have 100 forms, of course, you're going to have to do that 100 times. So an easy way to do that is to create a security group. Okay, so I'm going to delete these two groups I just created, create one more. It's this easy. So I'm creating a Webtools security group. I'll just call it Temp Web Services Admins. Temp meaning I need to delete it when I'm done. Whoops, and I didn't put anyone in there. Well, that's all right. For this demonstration, that's fine. Okay, I've created a security group, and now I'm going to the More Transfer tool. The Transfer tool shows me every web tool that I have access to. Here are all the emails that I have access to, all the eWeeks, files, everything on one screen, where I can very quickly choose them all or a subset of them and transfer them or share them with someone. So if I wanted to, let's say I was retiring, I could just do this and find my coworker. Okay, it found him. I could say select all. It selected every web tool on this page, and I could transfer to him. Now this is going to remove my permissions. I'm going to lose access to everything. Okay, if this was a new person and I just wanted to share it with them, I could do the same thing and click the share button. That would share. That would make the new person an admin on everything that I'm an admin for. They would have the same list as me. The last thing that I wanted to really show you was we just created that group. So where is it? Temp Web Services Admins. I could select this group. I could put Lance and myself in that group. Then I can select all the items and do the same thing. I can transfer to the group, which would remove me, which is fine because I'm in the group I'm transferring to, and so is Lance or anyone else I want to put in there. Or I could share the group, which would add the group in addition to me. That one doesn't really make sense in this case. The transfer to group makes a lot of sense. So if you need to clean up or give access in your department to a group of people, it's very quick. You can do it in just a couple minutes. You can transfer everything to a group. As long as you're in the group and they're in the group, then everybody has access to it. Okay, that wraps up everything I was going to share today, so I'm going to stop recording.